Michael?
Good evening, Shannon. Along the famed white beaches of Destin, Florida, about 50 miles east of Pensacola. Over the last 2 days, the theme I've picked up on is that the economic recovery seems to be coming along a lot better and a lot clearer focus, a lot cleaner answers there. But environmentally far out in the Gulf, those are the big questions. And I'm joined by Dr. Susan Larimore with the Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute back home. She joins us live in our studios. Doctor, thanks for being with us. Talk about your research and how it impacts what we're trying to learn about the impact of this oil spill.
Good evening, Michael. I was funded to look at the effects of the oil spill on larval invertebrates. We're assessing what the oil does in terms of survival and also development and growth of different larval stages.
Okay, doctor, in plain English, what are larval invertebrates? And bottom line this for, what are you looking at out there for all us lay folks? And do you have any early answers? Fundamentally, people are saying, how bad was it? What does it mean for the ecosystem?
Okay, the specific invertebrates that we're looking at are shrimp, oysters, and conch. By larval stages, I mean when something develops from an egg, it goes through 3, 4, 5 different larval stages before it reaches juveniles, which are mini adults, and then becomes an adult that can actually reproduce.
What are the likely early impacts? What have you seen and what have you been able to determine so far on the life cycle as it affects a lot of the seafood and a lot of the ecosystems in the Gulf? What are your concerns?
My concerns are long-term effects, how it will affect the next generation. We're actually just getting started on studies. Took quite a while to get a hold of the dispersant and the oil from BP. We're actually in the middle of our shrimp studies. I suspect that the younger the ages, the more negatively they will be affected, that older larvae and adults perhaps will be less affected, but still we don't know chronic effects on reproduction and organ effects.
And therefore, doctor, we don't know as we stand here today what the mid to long-term impact is for that resource and for the commercial fishermen and the economies that depend on it. We simply don't have enough answers yet. Is that fair?
That is correct.
And talk to me a bit. People ask me all the time up here, and I'm sure they ask you, is the seafood safe for now? Can you answer that?
Yes, I love seafood, and I eat Gulf seafood. It is the most tested seafood on the planet right now, and I feel fairly confident in the EPA and FDA's testing of the seafood. It's very safe, in my opinion.
Short-term plenty, but long-term concerns would seem to sum up what you're saying. Dr. Susan Larimore, we'll be touching base with you plenty in the months and years to come. We thank you for taking time to join us from FAU's Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute. And at 6 o'clock, I'll talk with a local marine scientist who's been caring for sea turtles not impacted by the spill, but she too worries about long-term impacts there. More on that later. Reporting live from Destin, Florida, Michael Williams, WPTV News Channel 5.